Welcome back to the podcast playground. Our newest podcast is The Best Podcast.
Join Jay Carter and me, Vida Best, on The Best Podcast, where the dynamic duo brings you their insider secrets to everything wonderful.
Known for their discerning taste, The Best Family has critiqued the finest in entertainment, technology, and lifestyle.
Now Jay and me dive deep into the top 5 everything, from the latest cell phones to affordable wines that won't break the bank.
So tell a friend, you've found The Best Podcast,
where every recommendation is a gem waiting to be uncovered. Tune in weekly for your dose of excellence.
Okay, so you know how some things are just staples in our kitchens? They're just always there. I mean, right up there with the bread and the butter, you've got that jar of pasta sauce, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a classic.
Totally. So whether you're, staring down a busy weeknight dinner, or maybe you're just low-key obsessed with what's in everyone else's shopping cart, you're in the right place for today's deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to peel back the lid on America's pasta sauce habits.
Exactly.
We've got some 2024 data from Instacart, and it's really cool.
So this is going to be fun.
You can really see what sauces people are buying.
Across the country.
Yeah. And we're going to dig into what these choices might actually tell us. What does this say about us?
I love that. Okay, so our mission today to give you a crystal clear picture of the pasta sauce landscape.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get saucy, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're diving straight into the top of the heap.
The champion. The winner. A solid 20% of all pasta sauce orders in 2024 is marinara.
Marinara. Makes sense.
It does.
It's reliable.
Yeah.
It's tomato-based staple. It's simple. Goes with everything. And honestly, that jar in the pantry is a lifesaver on more nights than we probably care to admit.
Yeah, I mean, you can just do so much with it.
It's always there for you. It's
Yeah.
like the friend you can always count on. That's what I think of when I think of marinara sauce.
Yeah, it really is the workhorse of the sauce aisle.
Yes.
And it's interesting to consider why it holds such a dominant position. Maybe it's the versatility, it's a base for so many dishes, or maybe it's just this universally accepted classic choice.
The OG.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even the culinary world agrees. Food and Wine magazine did a taste test. This was in 2024. And they declared Monty's original family recipe tomato sauce
Okay.
as the best jarred tomato sauce they had ever encountered.
Wow. And so that's essentially marinara.
That's essentially a type of marinara.
Interesting.
So that speaks volumes.
Okay. So right on its heels, though, nipping at marinara's saucy little heels, we have Alfredo sauce, capturing a significant 17% of those Instacart orders.
Closer than I would have guessed.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So you might instinctively think of red sauce when you picture pasta sauce, but Alfredo's popularity.
Yeah.
I mean, it really highlights the American love for that creamy, cheesy flavor.
Mm.
It makes you wonder about that inherent comfort we find in those rich textures.
I know. Comfort food.
Totally.
Yeah. And here's where things get really interesting for you listening, because it's not a uniform picture across the country.
Right.
There's a regional story here unfolding.
Definitely. The data reveals a strong regional preference for Alfredo in the South.
Really?
So Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, and the Carolinas.
Wow. They all order more Alfredo than marinara.
Interesting, isn't it?
That's a pretty distinct chunk of the map that's leaning towards that creamy goodness.
Yeah.
It definitely sparks the question, what is driving that? I mean, is it solely the love for creamy dishes?
That is the question.
Okay.
I mean, Instacart's trends analyst Alex Orellana suggests a connection to the Southern affinity for rich, comforting foods.
Yeah, makes sense.
Drawing a parallel to mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to wonder if there are deeper roots. Could there be a stronger influence of Southern Italian American cuisine in that region?
Oh.
Perhaps with variations that traditionally incorporate more cream. It's not just about liking creamy things. There might be specific culinary traditions at play.
That is fascinating. So it's not just some random preference. It could be tied to cultural foodways.
Right.
I love that. Okay, so after our creamy contender, we're back to red with the third most popular sauce. Tomato basil.
Right.
Claiming 16% of orders.
Oh, basil.
Now, for you listening who's maybe got a jar of this in your pantry right now, is tomato basil really that different from our champion marinara?
That's a great question. While both are fundamentally tomato-based, The addition of fresh basil provides a noticeable difference.
Totally.
It brings a brighter, more aromatic, and slightly sweeter note.
It does.
That kind of elevates it beyond the basic marinara. It's like marinara's slightly more sophisticated cousin.
I like that. So like marinara in a blazer.
Yes.
Okay. And just like Alfredo carved out its regional territory, tomato basil has its strongholds too.
Right.
It turns out this is the top pick in Alabama, Delaware, Maryland, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Another interesting cluster of states showing a distinct fondness for that basil infusion.
Yeah, and it really underscores how even subtle variations within the same broad category of sauce can resonate differently across the country.
Yeah.
It suggests that the particular flavor profile of tomato and basil strikes a chord with the palates in those specific states.
Interesting. Okay, now rounding out our top 5, we have tomato garlic sauce coming in at number 4 with 13% of orders.
Right.
And right behind it, the straightforwardly named tomato sauce at 12%. So big picture, tomato-based sauces dominate the top tier of American pasta sauce choices, at least according to the Instacart data.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 out of the top 5 are firmly anchored in tomatoes. This really emphasizes the role of that fruit in our pasta sauce preferences.
Fruit. That's right. We forget that sometimes.
Yeah, it is a fruit. And these variations, whether it's the simplicity of just tomato or the added punch of garlic, likely cater to different culinary needs and maybe even different weeknight meal strategies. You might reach for plain tomato sauce as a blank canvas for further additions, whereas tomato garlic offers a bit more flavor.
Right out of the jar. Okay, so we've zoomed in on the top 5. It's interesting to see those slight nuances and the clear dominance of the tomato-based options with Alfredo making a strong showing. Definitely gives you something to think about next time you're in the sauce aisle.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking at my pantry differently now.
Exactly. And considering these top contenders, it prompts us to think about what we prioritize in a pasta sauce. Is it simplicity and versatility, like with marinara?
Right.
Or is it richness and indulgence, like with Alfredo?
Or maybe a specific flavor combination.
Like tomato basil.
Yeah. These top 5 really represent a range of core preferences.
For sure.
Definitely food for thought, pun intended.
Yes.
So for you listening, does this top 5 align with what you usually reach for?
Yeah.
Are you a marinara loyalist? An Alfredo aficionado? Or do you fall somewhere else in the tomato, basil, garlic spectrum? It's always interesting to see how our individual choices fit into the bigger national picture.
It is. And as we continue our deep dive in future sessions, we can explore some of those sauces that didn't quite make the top 5.
Yes.
But still have their own dedicated fans and regional stories to tell. But for today, focusing on these frontrunners gives us a solid understanding of the core tastes driving America's pasta sauce selections.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in something as common as pasta sauce, there's a whole world of preference and regional flair to uncover.
Right. Each offers a slightly different experience, catering to different moods and meals.
Okay, so to bring it all together for you listening, marinara stands tall as America's most popular pasta sauce, but Alfredo's strong presence, particularly in the South, along with the solid popularity of tomato basil and the other tomato-based contenders, really paints a picture of a nation that loves its red sauce, but also has a significant soft spot for creamy and herb-infused options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These top 5 sauces aren't just random choices. They likely reflect the combination of tradition, versatility, flavor profiles, and even regional culinary influences.
That have shaped our national palate.
Exactly.
And on that note, here's a final little nugget for you to consider.
Okay.
Thinking about these top 5 pasta sauces and their relative popularity, what do you think it tells us about the kind of quick, comforting meals that are staples in American households? And does your own go-to choice reflect these broader trends or something uniquely your own?
Yeah.
It's definitely something to ponder the next time you're deciding what to have for dinner.
Food for thought.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.